everything you start. Again, the subject is how to finish everything you start. It's a book review. Uh, and today we're reviewing two books to be precise. The first one is titled Finish Everything You Start, written by Jan Yeager, as you can see in the slide there. A very close content is another book written by Pira Hollins titled Finish What You Start also. So I'm combining the content of this book together and I'm bringing to you lessons that I think are very profitable and they are all-time relevant. So please pay keen attention and draw lessons that are applicable to your situation as we run through. So what is the learning objective? The learning objective is for you, as my listener this evening, to be able to learn and then imbibe the act of following through, taking actions, and executing necessary actions, and of course, also having self-discipline. I intend to draw out 13 lessons from the book, and I will do that in a jiffy before we'll pray and release everyone to go back to our studies. But to start off, we know that the most difficult thing in life is getting started. The first Newton's first law of motion says that everybody will remain in a state of inertia or continue in its motion except they are interrupted by a force. So the most difficult task in the world is getting started. Now, if you are able to start, you have overcome a greater percentage, a greater chunk of the task that is allotted to you. However, it is not enough to start and then you could not complete. The Bible says, which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and consider the cost, whether he had enough. He said, less happily after he had started and is unable to finish, then those who behold the task, they mocked him, they laughed at him and say, you started, but you could not finish. So it is not enough to start, but it is also very good to make sure that whatever you've started, you are also able to complete accordingly. The true test of character is not in the beginning, but in the ending. It is not about being perfect. It is about being persistence. Yeah, that is consistency. It is not about being talented. It is about being disciplined to sustain the task. Finish what you start, and you will be amazed at what you can achieve. The truth is that there's actually no achievement if whatever you started is not completed. By applying the lessons you're about to learn today, you will be able to develop the self-discipline and focus needed to consistently finish what you start and achieve your goal. Are you a PhD student? Are you an undergrad? Are you a postgraduate student? Or you've left school, you are embarking on one particular project or the other? The subject of today is very relevant to your situation. Please pay attention so that you can draw the best. My leading text is in Genesis chapter 2 and verse number 2. Genesis chapter 2, verse number 2. I just read from here. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made. And that is it. That's where I'm going. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. Another word for end is finished. So in another translation, he said God finished his work. If God, our maker, began an assignment that he gave to himself from day one, and he didn't stop after day two, he didn't stop day three, he saw the task to the end, and the Bible said he rested. So sweet rest is always very sweet after you've accomplished the goal, the milestone for which purpose you have began any tax. So I'm going to give you 13 lessons drawn from these two books. The first one is understanding procrastination. Understanding procrastination. This is the first enemy of completing any task or projects that we do have. The root cause of procrastination are fear of failure, perfectionism, or lack of clarity of goals. So, what you need to do today and you defer till tomorrow because you're afraid of starting and failing, or because you think you might not be able to bring the task to perfection, or you do not have a clear goal, could be a factor that will hinder you from completing the goal you have started. By understanding these underlying reasons, you can address them and overcome procrastination. Now you have an assignment, your exam is fast approaching, and then you need to read, and then you are laying on your bed, and then there's a prompt within you according to your timetable. You ought to get up and then go read a particular subject. And then something say to you, please sleep on, just take another 1 hour, take another 2 hours. You know what? You can do it tomorrow. That is an enemy that threatens the full completion of your task. The next time that temptation comes to you, say no, get up and do what you need to do now. Number two, developing a finishing manifesto. Developing a finishing manifesto. How do I mean? Create a personal manifesto that outlines your values, your goals, and commitment to following through. This will serve as a constant reminder of your purpose and motivate you to see things through. So you must have a manifesto to finish. You know, that portion of the scripture that I quoted earlier, I said, which of you wanting to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost? Yeah, that is building your manifesto. What does it take to finish? Understand the mile. You see, someone who is involved in marathon or a sprint, they understand the miles that they need to run through so that they can sustain their strengths while they're embarking on that task. So you must get back to the drawing table and map out the strategy for completing the task to which you have begun. And God of heaven will see you through in Jesus' name. Number three is master your time management. Master your time management. You need to develop effective strategies to utilize your time efficiently. You must set realistic deadlines. You must schedule tasks strategically and minimize distractions. You must consider tools like time tracker and to-do list app to stay organized and focused. You need to use effective prioritization techniques to identify the most important tasks. You know, they call it MITS, MIT, in short, most important tasks, and schedule them strategically to ensure completion. Now, if you do not manage your time, then you will become a victim of how time runs. Remember, time is not going, you are the one going. Time is constant. It's the same 24 hours. So what you do with it determines whether you'll be able to accomplish your goal or not. Number four, create a no distraction zone. Create a no distraction zone. So your maxim is say no to distraction. What are distraction? External stimuli that can derail your focus. You know, it's so ridiculous that a student went to the library, and when he or she went to the library, he sat directly opposite to the entrance. And so for every individual that gets into the library, you are tempted to raise up your head to want to see who has come in, who came in now, who came in next. Then you have actually not strategically positioned yourself to say no to distraction. You're actually seated in a distraction zone. You must avoid that as much as possible. Some say they like to read with music. I don't know how they manage to do it, but it could be a source of distraction for some. Some wants to read where their friends and colleagues are, and then the temptation of chatting, picking up a discussion and interaction are all zones of distraction that you must completely avoid if you indeed want to focus. Create a distraction-free environment to minimize interruptions and optimize your focus during dedicated work sections. If you have a close friend and you both go out to read, sit apart so that the temptation to chat is totally overcome. Number 5, the power of small wins. The power of small wins. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Yeah, you see the illustration in the stepwise diagram that I put in there. When you celebrate a small win, you're encouraged to do more. And then your win becomes greater. And then you celebrate that new milestone, and then you are poised to get to the zenith of your mountain. So do not say it is small. So you're giving an assignment and you put in your energy, and when you were scored, you had a 95%. That is great. Please celebrate it. When you celebrate that, you're encouraged to do more. And then when your next exams or weekly, quiz or test comes around, you are emboldened. You say, I did it before, I can do it again. Acknowledging your accomplishment will reinforce positive behavior and keeps you motivated on your journey. Number 6, reframing challenges as opportunities. Reframing challenges as opportunities. You must understand that setbacks are inevitable. However, view challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. An illustration was given of a person that was in a pit, and while he was thrown into the pit, not so deep, pretty shallow, but he couldn't really get out. So folks were throwing stones at him, and as they throw stones at him, rather than considering that as a problem, rather than seeing them as albatross in the wheel of his progress, he stepped on each of the stone that is thrown at him while he was right in the pit. And for each stone that got to him, he stepped on it, and guess what? The stones fill up the pit, and he found himself on the flat level. So you can convert your problems into opportunities. Developing resilience helps you bounce back from obstacles and help you to stay committed to your goals. So there's this popular saying that we normally say back in Africa. So do not allow your family background to keep you on the floor. Do not allow your family background to keep you on the floor. Or maybe in your instance, do not allow your own situation to become a limiting factor for you. Look at those problems. There is opportunity hidden in it. So you break up that problem and discover the hidden opportunity, and you'll be able to move to your next level. So number 7, building self-discipline. Building self-discipline through habits. You must sustain habits that helps you to consistently achieve your goals. You must build positive habits and routines that support your goal. Over time, this habit becomes ingrained and they make you follow through for more automatic wins. If you see the illustration that I actually have there, if you have an old habit, don't say this is me. Don't say I'm doing me. Yes, this is you. But if it is going to impact your success or your journey towards success, you want to change that old you, that old habit, through discipline to a new habit that will help you to achieve much more. Maybe you're in the habit of, wanting to stay, uh, wanting to read after an heavy meal, and you know that the temptation is that you are likely going to feel tired and then sleep off. If it's an habit you have imbibed over time, you may want to change it. If the best time you understand most is early in the morning, then you may want to change your timetable to make sure you wake up early enough and do that study before you get into the activity of the day. So identify that old habit that is currently inhibiting your success and progress, and then change to a more rewardable habit. Number 8, ruthless prioritization. Ruthless prioritization. Not everything is equally important. You must identify core values and goals and then prioritize tasks that align with them. You must learn to say no to commitment that do not contribute to your priorities. You must avoid overcommitment and scattered focus. Now, I love these quadrants, right? And I just want you to pay attention to this quadrant. If you forget anything about this 8 point, I do not want you to forget this quadrant. Now, in this quadrant, you will see not important, important towards the left-hand side on the y-axis. And then if you look at the top, you will see urgent and not urgent. Now, there must be a match of the two, and the decision you make is what is written in that quadrant. Now, when you have a task that is both important and urgent, the decision is do it now. You can't afford to postpone it because it is urgent and it is important. Now, if the task is important, but it is not urgent, then decide when to do it. Schedule a time to do it and make sure you keep to the time of getting it done. If on the other end, your task is not important and it is urgent, delegate it. Who can do it for you? Can it wait till you and your team come together to have it done? Can you have somebody else do that task? Delegate it. That is a decision to take. Then the last quadrant, if it is not important and it is not urgent, delete it, eliminate it. It shouldn't be in your itinerary in the first instance. It is not important. It is not urgent. So what is this? Why is this sitting on your to-do list? So this is actually how to prioritize your activities. You got only 24 hours, out of which I don't know, maybe you sleep for another 8 hours or thereabouts. Then you have to compete with the remaining. And so many things are competing for that time. Of course, you have to give God his own time. You have to also do your normal chores. And then you have to take good care of yourself also. And your academics is there. So you must at each point decide as to doing it, deciding or scheduling how to do it, delegating or deleting it entirely. Unfortunately, many of what you have on your to-do list are stuff that needs to be deleted or delegated. However, you have actually let down those that requires instant attention. I do hope that this will help us and help you in particular to be able to run your course to a reasonable conclusion. Number 9, tame the to-do list monster. Tame the to-do list monster. You must break down your large tasks, your overwhelming tasks into smaller actionable steps. This makes them seem less daunting. You must clarify the process and provide a sense of accomplishment as you complete each step. You must keep yourself motivated on the path to completion. You say, I want to do that master's program. I want to run that new certificate course. I heard it is difficult. You know what? Get started. When you start, map out the manifesto to completion. Break down the big tasks into bits. If I have times in the future, I will speak on the subject, Eat the Frog. It's another book, right? Eat the Frog. The frog is an ugly looking animal. If you look at the external skin, it's so scaly and unattractive. But guess what? If you need to accomplish that task, you need to eat the frog. I can't remember the name of the author, but I'm going to dig it out. One of these days, I may have to speak on that. What does it mean to eat the frog? Do that thing that is confronting you as a fear. Do that thing that is looking at you and you forbid doing it. It's like a nightmare to you. However, it is your stepping stone to the next success. The only way to move forward is to get it done. And so the man wrote and said, hit the frog. And that is my challenge to you this evening. Hit the frog. Tame the to-do list monster. It's a monster, and you can't throw it away. You can't delay it. The only way is to overcome it and eat it up. And that is what I'm challenging you to do this evening. And I do hope you take the challenge. And number 10, embrace the growth mindset. View challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, not roadblocks to success. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. See them as stepping stones on your path. Celebrate progress, even small victories, and leverage setback as valuable learning experience. Now, I want to emphasize, look at the diagram I gave in there. the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset is padlock, is stereotype, is tailored towards one direction. Now, you need to be very objective. Like all of these challenges were given to you at the campus fellowship, what you do with it defines what kind of a person you are. Are you someone with a group mindset, or you're someone who is fixated? I'm challenging you to open up your mind and then be ready to learn the first principle if required. Number 11, prioritize self-care. This is very important. Prioritize self-care. Don't pour from an empty cup. You know, someone said, if you are loaded, you will be needed. I repeat that. If you are loaded, you will be needed. You really can't even pour from an empty cup. So you must take care of yourself. Because what is success without you? Taking care of yourself physically and mentally is essential for sustained energy, focus, and motivation. This includes getting enough sleep. The truth is that you can't cheat nature, as we normally say. If you're supposed to sleep 8 hours and you do not, then you keep dozing during the day and it's messing up your tax. So what you've not paid, you're paying in bits until you pay eventually for the sleep time that you have deprived yourself of. Eating healthy food, very, very important to activate your memory and help you stay healthy. You don't want to fall sick during exam. Of what value is all of your reading? So eat right, exercising regularly and engaging in activities you enjoy. Always remember you. This is about you. What is success without you? And very, very important, maintain good health. Number 12, the power of collaboration. The power of collaboration. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, far back when I was an undergrad, I have this policy. Before I start the new session, I will go to, and no one taught me this. I just imbibed that over time. I will go to those who were my seniors, who were a year before me. I will get their notes. And you know, back there in Africa, it's not going to be exactly the same because every two years they do alternate. And I do understand that. And I'll get their notes and I give myself a task to make sure I finish reviewing all of those notes before the school resumes. And guess what? I always do it. By the time the school resumes and we are in class, I'm solving past question papers while teachers were attempting to teach. I'm going into the library to sought for additional information that will assist me. So it makes the semester a walkthrough. It's like I've had this before. I have read this before. And, you know, even teachers are on their toes to make sure they prepare very well before they come to class because they do know that there may be one or two students who have gone through the syllabus before. So do not be afraid to collaborate. Delegate tasks when possible and leverage the expertise and support of others. You know, sometimes you may have to learn the first principle again. Now there's a particular subject, maybe you found yourself in a chemistry class and you have not really done chemistry before, and then you do not understand all of these elements and compounds and how to balance chemical equation and what have you. Don't feel ashamed. Go and get chemistry 101 or your secondary, your high school chemistry, and learn the elements in the periodic table and learn what are mixtures, what are chemical compounds. So how do they come together? How do I balance a simple chemical equation? It may be pretty element, but you need that foundation to understand the intermediate and then the advanced that is currently being taught in class. Collaboration can lighten your workload, bring fresh perspective, and accelerate progress towards your goal. The last but not the least, number 10, embrace continuous improvement. Embrace continuous improvement. Reflect on your progress regularly and adjust your approach as needed. Be open to learning and adapting your strategies based on experience. Don't be afraid to change your plan if they no longer serve you effectively. Don't be afraid, right? If you have a plan and it's not working, go back to the drawing table and retool, rework it. The most important thing is that you must not be stagnant. You must be moving forward. Are you a PhD student and you've been on one stage for a long period of time, please go back to the drawing table. Perhaps you need to change your subject of study, your topic of study, and it's never too late to start again. If you realize that there's an albatross in the particular topic or subject you have started with and you're not making headway, don't be afraid to start again. Talk to your supervisor, have that conversation, and you can start all over. In summary, as I bring this to a close, I'm going to give you 10 points that I want you to go away with. Again, one, be selective in what you embark on. Don't just start on anything or do only the stuff you are passionate about. Number two, estimate the resources you need. You must know what to expect. When you start a project, have an idea what it will cost you, the time, the resources, the commitment required, so that you do not start and then you stop halfway. Number three, budget your time and energy accordingly so you can finish the project in a timely manner. Don't put in all of your energy at the beginning of your marathon and then you get tired midway. And then all those who started gently and are going on a steady rate, they will overtake you and leave you behind. Number four, quit being a perfectionist. Whatever you are obsessing about doesn't make a big deal in the long run. Failure is not fatal. It's your opinion. So it's fine. The most important thing is getting to the end of the task. Rather, you decorating stage one and trying to perfect it, and you are lagging behind. Your mates are right at the finishing line while you are trying to perfect stage one. Don't be as obsessed about that. Your focus is the end goal, which is completing what you have started already. Number five, commit to it. Hold yourself to your word. You know, I love that Genesis chapter 2, verse 2. It said, and God finished the work. God knew that it was going to take him 7 days. So he knew what was to be done for day one. God did not mix the assignment for day 4 with day 1. He did not delay or procrastinate the one assignment to day 7. And if you see the way God went about it, it was so chronological. God made sure that before he created man in day 6, that all that man needed for existence were already created ab initio. What a chronological order. What an order God we have. And that is how we ought to be. Do not bring what ought to be the last as the first. No, that is a misplaced priority. You must be organized. Number 8, connect with your end vision. In times when you feel uninspired, remember your end vision. All around you may not speak like it, but put your eyes on the goal. Remember the word focus, if spelled in vertical order, will be focus on one course until you succeed. Focus on one course until you succeed. Keep your eyes on the ball until you get to the end. Do not get distracted. Number 7, follow the path of highest enjoyment. So when you look at the tax, there's an enjoyment part of that tax. Start with that section. I tell you, while you work, you play. And I tell you, following that the easiest part of your tax will encourage you to other parts that may look difficult. Number 8, track your progress. Whatever gets measured gets improved. Measure your progress. Ask yourself, am I doing this correct? Am I doing the next second correct? Am I doing at the end of my year? And if you have not done well, don't be discouraged. Retool, rework, get back to the drawing table, and then tell yourself what you need to change and make a corrective action. And I tell you, your next performance will actually announce you to the group. Number 9, celebrate what you have done so far. Yeah, you know, this popular adage that it's only the lizard when he jumped from a very tall wall and lands on the floor, the lizard turns to the right, it turns to the left, and nobody praises or, you know, encourages or hails the lizard, and the lizard begin to nod. The nod means if no one praises me, I praise myself. I'm sure you must have observed a lizard before, except those of you who have not seen lizards before. So the lizard praises itself when he feels he has accomplished something that no one praises it for. So sometimes celebrate the success. It's not out of order. Finally, number 10, I want to say this with a caution as I also end with this. Don't force it. If it's really not working out, perhaps you need to change it. Perhaps you need to change the project. Perhaps you need to change the topic. Perhaps you need to change the course you have gone in for. If it is so critical that you're not just finding your feet, you've tried all, you've met counselors, and you just realize that it's like this is like a round peg in a square hole. Perhaps you need additional counseling. You may have to change the project or change the tax. I'm going to end there. Why don't we close the eyes as we commit ourselves to the ends of the Lord and say, Lord, thank you for all these that I've learned. Help me to make use of this. Over to you, Professor Timothy. You can close us up. Thanks.